protest, even now when he's banning these in-person worship services.
And as coronavirus cases trend upward, many states are reinforcing restrictions. The state of California is making it very hard for Christians to worship. First, they banned singing in churches to halt the spread of the coronavirus. And then came the recent order to ban indoor gatherings, including home Bible studies and fellowship. Liberty Counsel has filed a lawsuit on behalf of Harvest Rock Church and Harvest International Ministry against the governor's orders, calling them unconstitutional. And joining us now with more is Liberty Counsel's founder and chairman, Matt Staver. Matt, tell us more about the governor's order and the details surrounding your specific lawsuit.
Well, as you said, he began just a couple weeks ago with banning singing and chanting in all houses of worship, and that includes in-home Bible studies and fellowship. And then about a week ago, he expanded that to all the counties on the so-called county monitoring list. And right now there's 30-plus counties on that list, and that number could grow. In those counties, there's no in-person service at all, no in-person worship, either in the church building or in your home. So no home Bible study, no home fellowship. You know, 80% of California now has no ability under this order to worship. The governor absolutely has no power to do this. It is beyond his constitutional ability. In fact, the First Amendment draws a line in the sand. But the same governor apparently has two versions of the First Amendment, one for protesters, which he encourages right on up through and including the ban on in-person worship, including in your home. And he actually encourages more of that. We had 100,000 protesters gather in the streets, shoulder to shoulder, back to front, jamming the streets, and the governor is happy about that. He's encouraging more to engage in that kind of activity while he's banning not only all in-person worship, but all in-home Bible studies and fellowship. And that is just absolutely astounding.
So it sounds to me like you definitely think that churches are being unfairly targeted.
Oh, no question about it. I mean, we have in our 90-page complaint on behalf of the church and the Harvest International Ministry, which has 162 churches throughout California, listed many of the comments and the citations for the governor. And he, again, encourages mass protests. Even now, when he's banning these in-person worship services and even in-home Bible studies, he's encouraging people to engage in protest even now. And he says, in fact, if you engage in protest, you can get a confidential COVID test. No one will need to know that you've actually been part of the protest, so they're not going to report that. I mean, that's a double standard. There is no First Amendment for protest, and First Amendment that's basically truncated to nothing for places of worship. In fact, places of worship, people of faith, not only have the right of individuals for free speech and free assembly, but the free exercise of religion, and the government cannot establish religion. Going all the way back to 1947, the Supreme Court in the Everson case said that the Establishment Clause means at least this, that the government cannot force someone to attend church against their will, nor can they prevent someone from attending church against their will. And that's exactly what the governor is doing.
And quickly, we've only got about a minute left. We've been seeing situations like this since the start of the pandemic. What can be done on a federal level to prevent governors from issuing mandates like this?
Well, of course, this is obviously an individual state issue, but I think the President of the United States can continue to use the pulpit to encourage these governors to back off the restrictions. I think he can continue to do that more. I think you can also tie some federal funding to these particular situations where they're overreaching. And finally, the Department of Justice needs to become even more active than it has been to go after these governors that are violating constitutional freedoms.
All right, Matt Staver, the founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Thank you for your time and your insights, sir.
Thank you. Good to be with you.